Hi guys! We're back for another Feature Friday with the beautiful Reyna. She has written Sunday Morning Usual. It is a heartfelt, hilarious, and totally original story. So something pretty cool. Well, not pretty cool. It's actually kind of upsetting. Miranda actually got to read the book before I did. So I get to experience it kind of like in the shoes of some of you guys who are watching who may have never heard of the book. And this is probably going to reel you right in because authors are amazing. And so we get the best of both worlds, where Miranda has read the book and I have not. So, a quick reminder, Feature Friday is where we spotlight some amazing authors who deserve a spotlight. And we talk about their book, we talk about them as a person, and it's just a quick get to know her scenario, if you will. I don't know.
Yeah, so like we said, we have Reyna here, debut author, bringing us Barista Chaos, our emotional healing cinnamon cold brew that cures heartbreak. I loved the dynamics in the book. So welcome, Reyna, to our show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Perfect.
Well, first, I'd like Reyna to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about her in the book, and yeah.
I can do that. So, I'm Reyna Pingul. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, so that's why a huge part of the book takes place there. Fun fact about this book, it was actually my graduate thesis, and it only took me 1.5 years to write. But then it took me 7 years to finish editing it because I hated it so much after that 1.5 years that I was like, I can't touch this anymore. So it has grown exponentially since then. My thesis advisor was like, wow, it's been forever. I was like, I know. Sorry. And it's sort of just a love letter to heartbreak and moving on. And I used it a lot to sort of work out some of my own emotions. And I just fell in love with the story and I just wanted to make sure that it got out there. Even if it took me 8.5 years, it's fine.
It's just well loved.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
And you have all of the time and the emotions and the changing from when you originally wrote it and then going into editing it, because there was that time difference. Maybe you had some different perspectives you can bring to it. So I think that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So now that we got to know you a little bit, Reyna, we're going to learn about your book a little bit. So we're just going to ask you a couple quick questions. Answer the best you can. Have some fun with it. If Nightmare King were real, what's the weirdest drink we'd find on the menu?
Oh, that's a fun one. So Miranda knows about this character. His name is Chunk. And he's like Josh's sidekick buddy at the shop. And he comes up with like these glittery tea concoctions. So I think probably he would eventually introduce something ube flavored because of some plot twists in there. And I think that because ube is still sort of jumping off as a popular flavor, some people would be like, what is that? And then he'd have to explain that it's a purple sweet potato from the Philippines. And while I don't think it's weird because I'm half Filipino and I'm like ube everything, I think that would probably be one of the weirdest things that community would find. You know, like, what is ube? Who puts that in a drink? You know, so probably something like that.
See, I'm already intrigued.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, Chunk is awesome. Okay. You already said that you had the inspiration for Las Vegas as the setting because you grew up there. Is there some other inspiration you had for LA when you were bringing that setting into the book?
So I went to grad school in San Francisco and I was like, well, I can't do San Francisco, but I wanted another city that I had the vibe for, like the feel of the town. I spent a lot of time in LA and San Diego over the years just for like summer break and spring break and stuff because that's the only time we got to go to the ocean. So I think like some of those neighborhoods were my favorite. Like El Segundo specifically is so beautiful. And I always wished I could live there, but obviously I couldn't make that happen. So I'm like, she gets to live there and live my beach dreams.
There you go. Yeah, insert your characters where you want to be and then you can live vicariously through them. I love it.
Yes.
Because that's why we read.
Exactly. Yeah. Immerse ourselves in these worlds with our characters.
My favorite question, if you were to receive a Netflix contract right now, who would play Harper and Josh?
Oh, no. So actually working with a character artist right now, and I had to sort of I'm working. I'm part of a writing group.
You're
Sorry,
fine.
this is a tangent. I'm a part of a writing group, and we're doing like a fireman's
Ooh.
calendar for our main characters at the holidays for 2026. And as I'm describing this character to her, I'm like, he's a lot hunkier when I describe him than I've been picturing in my mind. But I think that's because I'm so far removed from the story now that I'm like, oh, I'm older and I'm, thinking about baking. And honestly, like a buffer version of the Hebridean Baker. Have you guys ever seen the Hebridean Baker? I forget his name. So
I
you'll have
will.
to look him up. But he's the one who comes to mind first, even though he's like the older version of Josh in my brain. That's not helpful.
No,
I'm sorry.
you're fine.
That's fine.
Miranda's really good at
And then as
inserting
far as
clips.
Harper goes, I don't know. Yes. So what the hard part about Harper is that mixed Filipino women are not popular in mainstream, and it's hard to find that same comparison, especially since she has softer features and a lot of the Filipino representation now, like it sort of they feed into Western beauty standards more often than what half Filipino women actually look like. So that's a hard one. I mean, honestly, probably the closest, even though the age isn't there anymore, is like in description wise would probably be like America
Oh,
Ferrera.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
Yeah, like that's who, but like circa the second Sisterhood of Traveling Pants.
Okay.
That's like my
yeah,
favorite
I
movie,
see that.
too.
Not Barbie, but like, yeah, it's so good. So
No, I like it. Because now I can picture when I'm reading, like, who you would pick. I think it's funny because,
Mhm.
like, if I ask...
yeah, I'll have to send you guys the
Yeah.
character art.
If I ask, like, after I've read the book, I always have, like, this visual in my head, and then the author is always like, well, I'd pick this person. I'm like, well, that's not who I saw. But this is cool because I kind of get, like, who you would see. We had a funny conversation the other day. We were reading, what's her name? A.L. Jackson? And Miranda...
Yes.
this tattoo artist. And me, like, when I picture a tattoo artist, I think of, like, a biker dude with, like, the leather vest that's too small and, like, having to, like, lean on ya to, do it. And in this book, he was supposed to be, like, rugged and handsome and young, and that's not how I pictured him, as the nasty old biker dude. So, it's always funny to me.
Yeah. So another one that sort of looks like a younger version of the Hebridean Baker is, I think his name is Mark Rowley or Rowley.
I think I know that one.
He was in The Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's
Yes.
who I always pictured, just because but slightly more muscular. So
I can see that. I can definitely see that. I love The Last Kingdom.
I actually named one of my dogs after Tara,
Oh, that's so cool.
Richard's sister. So
Nice. Very cool.
We're just like, yeah.
We're just like thinking out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So cool. All right. I'm going to try to ask the next question and see if Ashley's on the same train we are. So Harper's healing journey is messy and it's real. And you said that you were kind of pulling some of the things you were going through into the book and like working through it. Were there moments that were specific that you pulled from your life that you put into the book?
Well, one that has nothing to do with a healing journey necessarily is that my childhood dog does make an appearance. I had a 75 or 90 pound lab pit bull mix, and his name was King. I was like, I have to honor him somehow because he was the best damn dog.
So cool.
I love that.
So I made sure to that little kid in me, I was like, I need to put King in there. And when I was planning on going to grad school and everything, I really wanted sort of the family feel to be shown in there because it was my family that rallied around me when I wanted a dream that didn't make sense to them. And they were like, you're not gonna make any money doing this, but okay, if you want to go to grad school for writing, go to grad school for writing. We'll make it happen for you.
That's awesome.
And I really wanted that to be present because they were a huge part of that journey.
That's awesome.
So, and it was we've suffered some familial losses since I moved for grad school. So it was a nice way to honor those that we lost.
That's awesome. I like it. I like it.
Right in the feeler.
I don't know. So I guess Miranda did a little bit of history on you, I'm assuming, with one of the questions. It says, your socials say you're a Mummy fangirl.
Oh, no.
Is that true? That's
I
awesome.
am.
I loved The Rock. So
Yes. Actually, my favorite word of all time. Yes. My favorite word of all time is decomposing, specifically because of the first movie. I was like determined to be an archaeologist for the longest time. And then I realized my asthma and my allergies would not allow it. And I was devastated. But still to this day, decomposing is one of my favorite words.
So now we have to know, would Harper make an appearance in your movie? Or in the movie?
Where would Harper
In The
fit
Mummy?
in if she were in the movie The Mummy?
I like how Miranda said.
So honestly, I think that because of her general, I won't say she's peppy, but I think that she has a nice calming optimism to her. She'd probably end up being like Jonathan's partner.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that's like got all these wild ideas, and she's like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. We have to be
Let's do it in a
logical.
way that we're not going to get hurt.
Yeah. And I love how you incorporated your love for the movie into the book with Stella and Harper's mom watching it together. That was super cool.
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
Or read it.
Yeah, that was you get like different opinions when you use like pop culture and things, and I was like, but it's so central to who they are that I had to include some of that stuff.
I feel like you were like bringing yourself more into the book too, with adding quirks like that, like with your dog and the movie, and just adding pieces of you into the story, which makes it more unique, I would say.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna do some bookish superlatives. So you're giving pretend awards to your characters in the book. So who in your book would be most likely to ghost you?
Oh, honestly, probably Cindy, Harper's mom.
Okay. I was thinking Calvin,
She
but
would
that
just, like,
works.
I don't know, he's so needy.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so needy.
Most likely to show up with a weirdly perfect coffee order.
I mean, Josh.
Yeah.
I wrote all the green flags.
Yeah. Most likely to win your heart with a bizarre hobby.
Chunk.
Yeah. I agree. All right. So we're done with our superlatives. Ashley, what's your next question?
We need to know what you're working on next. Can you give us any behind the scene details of something that might be in the works?
So I'm actually working on, I have 3 projects vying for my attention, and they're all very different. One will be along the same vein as like a cozy romantic comedy. It's about sisters whose lives blow up sort of at the same time in very different ways, and they're sort of collectively sent by their parents and their brother to rest at their grandmother's house. And I want to focus on like how they heal from 2 very different scenarios. And obviously I want to write hunky green flag men into it. And then I'm working on something completely different, and I'm hoping it'll turn into sort of a cozy fantasy mystery series. The first story is about evil crepes and the mystery of how they became evil.
Interesting.
I'm really pulling out all the stops for that one. And then I've been connecting with my Filipino side a lot more as I've gotten older for different reasons, like growing up as a mixed kid as a first generation mixed kid, you sort of are taught to focus on your Americanness, and I want to reconnect with the Filipino side. And I decided to sort of research what my grandmother's life would have been like in the Philippines in the 90s. I'm hoping to sort of write the future I wish she had the opportunity to have, but that one is going to take me a lot longer because of all of the research that's got to go into it. So I'm like stacking them by priority because I'm really focused on the sisters' journey right now.
They all sound amazing. Very cool. Yeah, books about sisters are always super nice.
Yeah, that one's a fun one that I started.
Where can listeners follow you, find your book, get some updates? So
I am at a Witch of Literary Magic on almost every platform except for Facebook, which I'm just under my name. And it's all just one word, no hyphens or anything. I'm hoping to get my newsletter up and running, but I do work full time during the day, so it's hard to sort of manage all of that and keep a writing schedule. But you can sign up for my website or sign up for my newsletter on my website. I also might have a contemporary romance giveaway situation happening later in the summer. The giveaway will end at the end of summer. So that's a possibility right now. And I'm going to team up with some really amazing authors. So that should be fun. But I'm really active on Instagram and not so much on TikTok. I have a few videos on TikTok, but I'll be honest, I only got a TikTok because my dad has one. And I was like, I post videos of your sister and your brother. And I'm like, okay, Dad, I guess I'll get on TikTok.
Miranda doesn't have TikTok.
I don't use TikTok. I use Instagram a lot, but not TikTok.
Yeah, I'm like, Dad, why are you all over TikTok? I don't understand.
That's super funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's really weird, but that's my dad.
Yeah. Well, Reyna, thank you so much for hanging out with us for these 20 minutes, and thank you for dealing with our leggy technical issues. One day it'll all be beautiful and magical, and I'll have Starlink or something where I don't have to worry about it.
No worries. Honestly, this was so much fun, and I will take all of the lag from you guys.
We appreciate that so much.
Okay, Miranda, let's close her out.
Well, that is it. Remember, for you book mashers, to make sure that you are checking out Reyna's Sunday Morning Usual. We will have the link to the book on Amazon in our caption for our YouTube video. Make sure that you're following our socials. Go to our link tree. You can check everything out. We will have more authors to be featured on our Feature Friday. And until then, bye, Mashers.
Thank you.
Guys.